Ladies and gentlemen, you've reached Politomato. My name is Mike, and if you're a busy kind of person who likes to stay informed on key news stories without a ton of extra commentary, then you've landed in the perfect channel. Today we're looking at a fire exchange in a congressional hearing where Representative Jamie Raskin and Representative Wesley Hunt clash over the 2020 census and its impact on political representation. Raskin argues that the claims of a rigged census are a dangerous distraction, while Hunt countered with data suggesting significant counting errors that favored blue states. It's an intense debate about the very foundation of our electoral map. This is a very important topic that will greatly affect the future of our nation. You're going to love this heated exchange, so let's let it rip.
President Trump's extraordinary mid-decade partisan gerrymander offensive has hit major roadblocks recently in California, in Utah, and in federal court in Texas. But his forces have continued on their path of destruction and are now targeting the 2020 census itself as a way to tear up the political map of the country. This week, President Trump released this telltale statement on social media. This all began with the rigged census. He said, "We must keep the majority at all costs. Republicans must fight back." So what a syllogism we're offered, because Trump must keep the majority at all costs. Therefore, the 2020 census was rigged. This is lunacy. It's like saying, because Trump had to win the 2020 election, he really wanted to win it, therefore the election was rigged and he won it. And that's just derangement.
The time has come to elucidate the American people on the census manipulation that Democrats have been using to influence American elections for years. In 2018, Republican leadership, including the president himself, called for a citizenship question to be included in the 2020 census reports. To no one's surprise, when the Democrats took control, these requests went unanswered, and the question of citizenship was waived. But the fact remains that the concept of sanctuary cities and radical blue states ignoring immigration law and using the illegal population to manipulate the lines of congressional districts is in fact unconstitutional. Not only are there severe constitutional concerns from the inclusion of illegal immigrants, but the Census Bureau admitted to having made several, quote, errors in their 2020 census report. Convenient, seeing that as in 2020, Donald Trump was on top of the ticket. In 2020, the Bureau undercounted in primarily deep red states such as Arkansas, Florida, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Texas, all red, while overcounting in radical left blue states like Delaware, Hawaii, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New York, Ohio, and Rhode Island. This egregious error led to many states being denied proper representation in Congress and the Electoral College. So much so that these errors cost Republicans not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 seats in the House. In addition to the 2020 miscounting, including illegal immigrants in the census has improperly granted radical left blue states 12 additional seats in the United States House of Representatives. It's a total of 18 seats gained. That is a huge problem. And those are the facts. If you are an illegal person in this country, should you under any circumstances be allowed to vote and choose leadership in this country?
That wouldn't be an expert opinion. As a citizen, I would object to that.
And what about you, Ms. Rodriguez?
I also object to that.
Mr. Miller?
Correct. Citizens should not be, illegal aliens should not be voting.
And that applies to you also, Mr. Young. I'd love to hear your response to this question.
Non-citizens are not allowed to participate in federal elections.
Okay. Are they participating in federal elections?
The studies have shown that there are very few instances which they have.
So that number needs to be 0. And as somebody who is a proud Texan, we and in Florida have done our best to get that number to 0. And in spite of the fact that I just voted a couple of weeks ago and we voted with paper ballots that we had to show an ID for, that they didn't verify my address and where I lived. And then I had to put said piece of paper through a machine, copied it. They gave me another copy. And then they gave me my very proud I voted sticker. And even with those stringent rules. With my daughter who is 7 years old was actually with me. She too got an I voted sticker. And guess what? With those stringent laws, we still have illegals voting in federal elections. So the question is not even about what's happening in Texas. If it's happening in Texas, you have to imagine that while it may seem like a minuscule amount to you, sir, that number needs to be 0. And if it's happening in Texas with those stringent rules, imagine what's happening in other blue states that don't have anything that closely resembles that level of redundancy to ensure that the person that voted in that election is in fact a citizen that has an address and has an ID.
The disconnect on display here is absolutely staggering. You have Raskin claiming that any questioning of the 2020 census is lunacy or derangement. On the other hand, Wesley Hunt is coming out with cold hard facts that even the Census Bureau itself has admitted to. We're talking about significant errors that, surprise, surprise, just happen to benefit deep blue states like New York and Rhode Island while penalizing red states like Texas and Florida. And when you look at the math, these weren't just minor clerical errors. These miscounts potentially shifted up to 18 seats in the House. Think about that. 18 seats that could have changed the entire balance of power in Washington. By including illegal immigrants even a little bit in the voting system, this essentially dilutes the votes of actual American citizens in red states. It's a deliberate strategy to keep the left in power by manipulating the map instead of winning over the voters. This isn't just a census problem, it's a direct assault on the principle of one person equals one vote for the people who actually belong to this country. But everyone, that's going to be a wrap for this video. I really hope you found this breakdown informative and it helps you see through the noise. If you did, please smash that like button, subscribe, and while you're down there, please leave a comment. I would love to hear what y'all think. I thank you all very much for your time. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and wherever you are, keep smiling.